everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea, and in today's video I would like to take you with me on a library journey. We'll have a visual experience together. Recently I reviewed a book called Martians Go Home, and I said that what drew me to the book cover was the little green alien, which keeps showing up because it's kind of the mascot for one of our rare book libraries in Toronto called the Merril collection of rare science fiction and fantasy books, or speculative fiction. And it's named after Judith Merril, who was a very big figure in science fiction and fantasy. She was married to author Frederick Pohl for a while. I know he had multiple wives, but she was one of them. And she was a very influential person. She is from the United States, but then later came to Canada and donated a lot of her books, like 50,000 books, like a really big amount of books, to this collection of the Toronto Public Library. So they named it after her, but it's a rare book library, which means you have to stay there. You can't take the books out and take them home. So I went on a quest. I wanted to go see some items myself, and I requested some books ahead of time. So I wanted to see some rare Weird Tales covers, like authentic Margaret Brundage covers, and to hold them myself. And then I requested some books written by William Hope Hodgson, or edited, compiled kind of things, to see if I want to get them myself or if they're worth investing in for the future. So some of the books we're going to take a look at were books that I'm considering getting for myself in the future, and some that I just wanted to touch and hold because they are rare items. So let's go through some of these together, and hopefully you enjoy the activity of being in a library with me. They have a lot of cool Star Trek things or other fandoms in the science fiction world, and sometimes there's activities at the library that are themed. So for example, there's an upcoming event for Trekkies that involves cross-stitching as well. So they like to combine arts sometimes. I really love that about library programming in general. It's very quirky like that. But at this point, I thought I should go over to the front desk and not only check out my cart, because I had requested a lot of items, but I wanted to see what they had on display. And here you have the famous poster that I have in my office too, and they're Friends of the Library program stuff. Now, the first item I really wanted to take a look at was this one. So this is the biography of Margaret Brundage. This book is pretty expensive, but it is worth it if it is what I think it is. So I wanted to see if it has a good ratio of like text to image, because I wasn't gonna buy a book if it's just a coffee table book with only pictures. Margaret Brundage created some of the most iconic art for Weird Tales magazines. I didn't realize how many covers she illustrated until I flipped through this book. A lot of these have been turned into posters, and I've seen some kind of merch. I'm not sure who owns the copyright to some of that, or if it's done kind of through those shady websites, but she's definitely an icon when it comes to Weird Tales. And I definitely may have ordered in the future one cover of Margaret Brundage art, but most of these are really difficult to come by, like especially the originals. So at this point I thought, well, why don't I ask for some actual Margaret Brundage originals, because I wanted to hold in my hand the history. So this one that I'm holding right now is the very first Weird Tales that was illustrated by Margaret Brundage. It's a bit more tame than her later ones, but it still got her flair to it. And these other ones are a bit more risky. I know that I've seen this one because it has a Robert T. Howard story in it. Okay, I ordered this at the library as I was there yesterday, and it already arrived. Whoever I ordered this from hand delivered it. So it arrived in less than 24 hours. But now I'm going to spend a lot more time with this book, that's for sure. Okay, let's go back to the library. So here I am flipping through the Robert E. Howard featured story. The illustrations inside Weird Tales magazines are usually in black and white. This one got my attention. It seems like a cool story I might want to read very soon. I made a note of it. And then I wanted to see how it says her name inside, because it tells you who illustrated the covers. It was a lot of fun to look at these. And then I wanted to see the famous Robert E. Howard covers done by Margaret Brundage. So this one you would probably have seen somewhere, even if you don't read weird fiction. This is just such an iconic picture. And this one has been used as the cover for several other books in the future, or in our past, I guess. But it's just such a famous Weird Tales cover. These are way out of price range for me. And since I was here, I thought, why don't I ask for the very first Weird Tales that contained the H.P. Lovecraft story, the first H.P. Lovecraft. So this is what the cover would have looked like. And here inside we have February 1928, and it's The Call of Cthulhu. So that's the very first time Lovecraft came into print from Weird Tales. And then I thought, okay, since I'm here and the little green alien guy brought me here, let's take a look at some of the works by this artist, because vintage sci-fi art is some of my favorites, so let's check some of it out. Again, I didn't realize how prolific this artist was. Someone in the comments section of my Martians Go Home video mentioned that there is a book about his artwork and he's very famous. So I flipped through this book while I was there and tried to take down some notes, because there's some stuff in here I'd like to read. But then, what's that? Oh, it's a Weird Tales. So I asked for it because I wanted to see the original as well. And here it is. It's really cool to see how the illustrations look like in real covers versus when it's in a book about the artist. And here we have his name. I did take a look at the table of contents. Some of these are so cool. I'm so glad that a lot of these have been digitized. I'm gonna link down below all of the digitized Weird Tales because they all have links, and someone did make a list. I found Dagon as well. I wanted to see how the illustration looks like inside for this. Then another book I requested was about the Masks of Nyarlathotep, I think it's called. I can't pronounce the word properly, but it was a game. Someone turned this into an actual game, and I know that Dark Adventure Radio Theater has an audiobook of this nature about either a novelization of the game or an extended version of the Lovecraft story that's about 8 hours long. So I was kind of intrigued to see what the instruction manual for this game looked like. And it's very detailed. It has a lot of history and notes and this really creepy, morbid, strange art that I just love. If anyone has played this, please let me know. I'm curious if it's a good game or if it's a It's a multiplayer game, how friendly it is and easy to understand. Another one I wanted to see was this tiny essay book by Clark Ashton Smith. Now, I found that these essays were not really elaborate. I don't think it's worth the price that it's on online, but I did take a look at it. And then this book is a William Hope Hodgson limited edition, The House of the Borderland. It's done by Particular Press, which I'll see in just a minute, but it has all these signatures. So it's, the Swan River Press. They made very limited numbers of these. It's very expensive right now, but I wanted to see what it's like and hold it. I flipped through it, obviously, and look at some of the illustrations, which are out of this world, like most things Hodgson. And it had a lot of things inside. So one of the things that it had inside was, first the black and white illustrations depicting scenes from the novel, and those signatures at the beginning as well from several people involved. And then there was a CD by John Mueller, and luckily some of this is on Bandcamp, so you can check it out. It's kind of psychedelic music. I just thought that was such a great addition to the book. And it also has ephemera or pictures of William Hope Hodgson, the very few that we have. As a bundle, it looks really cool, and it's fun to hold in your hands, but the price is a bit high, which is why it's good to have a rare book library. Now, another book I requested, and this one I found it might be worth getting in the future, is a book called Out of the Storm, and this is compiled by Sam Moskowitz, who was the Weird Tales editor for about a year or two, and he really loved Hodgson and revived a lot of stories or took some from the margins. And here we have a bunch of Hodgson stories and an introduction by Moskowitz. So this book might be on my radar in the future. Another one I didn't know existed was this one. So this is again William Hope Hodgson. Some stories in here I haven't even heard of. It's good to know that these things exist. I'm glad I browsed these shelves. Some of these were completely new to me, and it helps. It helps to know, because a lot of the newer editions of Weird Tales, like even the ones from the British Library, don't have all of the stories in them. There are some missing. So it's good to track these down. And then, of course, I wanted to hold in my hands the Arkham William Hope Hodgson. This is so famous. The House on the Borderland. But believe it or not, it also has inside the Nightland. So there's 2 novels in here. And the Nightland is a lot bigger and longer than the House on the Borderland. But this is way out of anyone's price range. Right now it's super rare. I just wanted to hold it. Surprisingly, it doesn't have a lot of pictures, if any. Just the cover is the iconic part, and it's an Arkham book, but inside there are no illustrations, and that surprised me. And the last book that I requested was one that I really wanted to read, but I couldn't find anywhere. It was impossible to find, and this was by someone who was also part of Arkham House named Donald Wandre. He was one of the founders, and this is called The Web of Easter Island. To find these books online is close to impossible, and if you do, they are very expensive. So I wanted to spend some time with this book and see what it's about. I may end up coming back to this library and reading it at the desk there. It might take a few visits because it is a novel, but it's relatively short. I just think it might be fun to read this. It does contain kind of ancient civilizations type of stuff, which is some of my favorite stuff right now. Yeah, Arkham House. That's it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Bye!